Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Massage Stoner. We're with a very special episode of VSW Podcast. Tonight, we have the one and only ring announcer of MPW. That's right, Meg Lovellé in the house. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
This is great. I've had the booker for MPW. I had the head ref. Really amped about this show. Unfortunately couldn't get out to it that weekend. I had some family engagements, but I was watching it closely, listening to friends that had gone and watching social media, and it looked like a fantastic time.
It was absolutely phenomenal. And I mean, I totally understand family comes first, but brother, you missed out. You missed out.
I know. But I'm still kind of kicking myself for it. But sometimes when you have a 5-year-old, it's hard to debate with him.
I totally understand. And that was just the tip of the iceberg for MPW. We have so many other shows lined up for the rest of the year. So
yeah, I'm really excited that it's not just kind of this one and done kind of thing. And and that was something that I really emphasized when we first started talking with when I first brought Johnny Primer on. I wanted to talk about that, it not being just this one-up kind of thing to have a fun show, that it was a serious venture that was taking place right now, that's gonna change the landscape of Maine wrestling for the better.
Oh, you're not kidding. It's super exciting.
And now, was this your first time ring announcing, working for them, or have you worked for other companies?
So I got my start actually filling in because to bring up some old company names, we had Vacation Land Pro Wrestling. They literally could not find anyone to ring announce, and I just kind of was like, all right, I just raised my hand. I'm like, how hard can it be? I'll totally do it. And after I announced my first show, I was hooked. But unfortunately, Vacation Land Pro Wrestling is no longer. Mike Turner with MEW actually has had me fill in for him too. But MPW is my first full-time gig, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's an amazing company.
Yeah, I mean, it really looked that way. Just, from, like I said, the hype from, people talking about it, and, the names that were being thrown around. And, I know we have the card. We can go over that because there was some really good matches. But that's what it is. Maine, for me, I'm from Mass, and, Mass has a lot of wrestling. Maine has a lot of wrestling, too. I think the main difference is that Maine wrestling is a lot more scattered, and it's a little bit more further out, and it's not so congested every weekend. But
right.
Maine wrestling has its own vibe, its own feeling. I feel like the crowd is different. When I go to a Maine show, I always feel like I'm walking into I might not know anybody, but I feel like it's a family. And I feel like that's the sense I got from this crowd as well, from this show, that everybody was like a family in there. And that's important for indie wrestling. To have that, to not just seem like, that it's just kind of, corporation just to take your money. I go to major shows, and that's what I feel, that their job is just to get as much out of me as possible. Now, granted, I understand wrestling is also to make money as well and to, get money, but it's a little bit different, and the people seem to care a little bit more. And again, like I said, the compassion and the fans and everything that comes with it. Like I said, it just makes it for a scene. Not that we don't get that in Mass, we do, but not every show gets that. When I go to any show that I've gone into in Maine, and I've been to a few now, different promotions too, I always get that same kind of warm feeling in there.
Oh yeah, the energy was absolutely electric at this show. It exceeded, I know I'm speaking for a lot of people here, it exceeded all expectations that we had. This was actually my first show ever announcing in the ring, actually climbing in the ring and doing the, announcing. And so pretty short. So I'm looking out, and it just looked like an average show size. But then when I got in the ring and just could see over everything, it was just a giant sea of people. And it just blew my mind.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of the risk, the gamble. I mean, I know, you had some good ducks kind of lined up and you had, some really good people behind the scenes running this thing, that knew what they were doing. It wasn't their first rodeo, but you still don't know what you're in for at any show. Anything can happen any night. You don't know what the crowd's going to be like. You don't know if the crowd's going to show. You don't know if they're going to bring it that night. Things just happen, and sometimes shows can be a bust for no reason. The show could be great. It just wasn't the right, whatever timing is off. But it's always a kind of worry. But you guys, you got past that stage, and luckily everything ran smoothly. There was no issue, and like I said, I'm still seeing videos kind of pour in, and more people getting footage, and it's just the fans were really hyped for that show.
It was great. I mean, we ended up final head count for the evening, which I find it's funny because the show was on 316. We actually had 316 people in attendance. That's like every show I've announced in my entire career times like 3 in one building.
That's an impressive number. That's a nice number for an indie show. I don't know.
Not bad for a debut.
I mean, I don't know what the hall ratio was, but the average hall sits between 3 and 5. I mean, and then more than likely, it's towards that 3 number. You know what I mean? It sounds like it was a full house.
It was, yeah, it was great. I mean, it was at the Penobscot Nation's bingo hall that they have. And one of the ladies that works there stated that they could fit like up to 2,000 people in this building. But obviously things are set up a lot differently. But the fact we've comfortably fit 316 people in that room, it was.
I mean, I'm sure you could get 2,000 people if you don't have a wrestling ring sitting there.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's no, I'll be honest, there's no venue in probably anywhere that's exceeded that. Like I said, I've seen venues except 500, but that's pushing it, and that's having a good size venue. And, but for the average show, that's plenty, and that's a lot. And I'm glad to see that, it got that support right off the bat. And that's partly due to it's been heavily promoted, of course, but also, good word of mouth, good people working the show, good people on the card, good people behind the scenes, and people want to be part of things with good people in this industry. It kind of gravitates you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know with this show, we definitely had a heavy social media presence. I actually do the social media as well for MPW, along with Neil Day, the owner. So we were like pushing it like every day, him and I messaging back and forth to each other, like, cool, we're doing a match announcement tonight. Tomorrow night, we're doing a talent announcement. And then we're going to do a sponsor talent, announcement and a promo. And like, we made sure we were on it, like steady promoting, because if you slack on that, you're going to slack on sales, slack on getting people in there.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, nowadays you need that kind of social media presence. I know a lot of it is kind of redundant and just hammering it in, but not everybody sees every post every time you post it. Algorithms just don't allow it. So if you don't post things constantly, you might miss half of your demo. They're not going to see it.
Right.
But yeah, if you guys ever need, I try to share as much stuff as I see for stuff. But if you guys ever need sharing, just let me know. I always like to just push, especially on my YouTube. I like to just share things. Because it does get good numbers.
Go for it.
And and that's why I started the podcast, because I saw great shows, great wrestling, great independent wrestling. It just wasn't getting views. It wasn't getting eyes and ears like it should. And I said, well, let me try to get more eyes and ears on this scene. Let me try to get more people watching these guys and girls kill it every single weekend, and they're traveling from, Jersey to Maine, back and forth running it just for our entertainment. The money isn't the best at that level. And, they're living it up though. And they're doing it all again for, our entertainment and our pleasure. And they deserve a lot more respect, I feel, than some of them get. And, now, we have better platforms, there's IWTV, there's, great social media accounts to spread the word and word of mouth as well. But, it doesn't have, the same I guess, production and flair like WWE or AEW or these national chain wrestling that goes across the nation with one, tweet. You got to put work behind it to get noticed.
Oh yeah. I was going to say, we have accounts on various social media platforms because not everyone has TikTok. Like heck, half of our roster doesn't have TikTok, or Instagram, X, Facebook, YouTube. We're just
gotta have it all, because I feel like people get either they stick to one, or unless you're a content creator, or you have a brand, then you're using them all. But if you're just a casual user, you're picking like maybe one or two, and then even out of that, you might not go to one because you don't like it. So if you're not posting on them all, people again are not going to see your posts. Very important. But I think again, to go back to that national level, I think having someone like Tatanka show up to the first show and be part of that. I mean, that's just amazing, but that must have helped a lot, because he's such a tremendous person to bring in. Like, he probably helped push the sales of that. He probably helped talk about the show. He's a very good guy.
Oh my gosh, hands down, one of the best people I have ever met. I was telling Primer the other night I'm like, I remember shaking his hand. He smiled at me and I just blacked out. Like, it was such a great moment. He was, like I said, one of the nicest people ever. He took time to meet with fans even after doing his meet and greets. He spoke with a lot of the dojo students from Limitless and the other talent on the show. Like, he stayed till the very end and was just taking the time to speak to all of us and to critique. And you could even see him peeking through the curtain watching people, like when other people are out there wrestling, it was great.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite people. I grew up obviously watching him. I was a young kid, but when he entered WWE, I was about 10 or 11, and he always captivated me, because there wasn't very many Native American wrestlers. There was only like one prior. I remember Chief Jay Strongbow back in the day, but my dad would talk about him. But when the Tatanka came out, he was live, he was colorful, but he was also a good wrestler.
He still is.
His career in WWE, I don't think lasted as long as it should, but times had kind of changed, and his characters just didn't fit, and it just didn't work. But what I really love about Tatanka is he stayed with it. He didn't just quit wrestling altogether. And he didn't quit the passion for it. He still loves it. And he still does the stuff on the indie scene. He still does the signings. And he still remembers the storylines. That's big for me. I'm sorry. I'm a big kayfabe person. So, growing up, there would be these storylines. And one of the big ones, was him trying to pretend like, there was this Lex Luthor deal and people were selling out. And he was like, I never sold out. And he'll still talk about it this day. 20, 30 years later, he brings up these storylines that took place. That's huge. That's, bringing interaction that he doesn't have to do. He doesn't work for them anymore. He's his own person, but he still brings this stuff up for the fans. And again, I appreciate that. And I appreciate that he takes time, even on social media, to stop, reshare, retweet things, talk to you. Not something, a lot of these legends, I mean, I hate to say it, they've gotten big and they don't have the time to talk to everybody. He makes that time.
Oh, yes, he does.
And the fact that it was also on Native American land, I think, was very special too. And you also had what's her name coming in there as well?
The great warrior Wolf Nakoma. Yes. Oh my gosh, love her. She was just, you could tell just looking at her, she was soaking it all up, and the crowd loved her. I really hope that we're able to get her back for more shows on the res, because everyone just really responded well to her. And
then seeing them two together, like her and Tatanka together, because they were having interaction, obviously, and then them being on Native American land again, being authentic Native American, it was a great kind of moment, I think. It must have been really something special to be there live. But I mean, I could even feel its presence through social media, and I'm like, wow. But and then that's what wrestling's about, though. Those kind of moments, those awe moments. It doesn't always have to be about the actual what's taking place in the ring. There's so much to wrestling. There's a little bit.
There is. I mean, as soon as his music hit, I had everything I could in me to not fangirl out. I saw that headdress come through the curtain. I was like, oh my God. And I just like turned around and looked at one of the folks that was helping us backstage. And I'm like, holy crap. And then I turned back around and, like straight faced really quick.
Well, were you thinking about all day, like, how am I going to announce this guy? Like, what am I going to say? Like, how do I bring this guy into this arena? Was that crossing your mind at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Lots of moments in the car because I travel a lot for work. So I was doing a lot of practicing, like, like I'd have his music on Spotify and I'd hit it and wait for the right time to announce him. And then when I got to the venue, I was told, oh, you're not going to announce him coming in because, he's like a special guest type thing. During, what was it? Maverick and Jimmy Limits ended up calling out POS for a tag team match. And Alexander Lee of POS came out and he goes, well, I don't have Mike McCarthy. Y'all know he's touring with his band, but I have a better replacement. And then Tonka's music hit, the place went up. I got goosebumps still just thinking about it. Wow. It was such a magical moment. And it was a super magical moment for Alexander Lee because he too was a huge fan of Tatanka growing up. So to work with him.
And that's a wild tag team, those two together.
Those, it's funny, you wouldn't think those two go together, but man, it meshed really well. Nakoma actually posted a video of Tatanka skipping to Alexander Lee's music, which is played by the band Gwar. Yep. If anyone knows Gwar, it's God, what awful racket.
I've been to
and
Gwar.
There's Tatanka jamming out to Gwar behind the curtain, and it was just made my heart so happy. So, but
wow, man, that's a moment like that's just like I said. I mean, this sounds like it's just a great show from beginning to end. I mean, everybody just kind of working together, the egos put aside.
Oh yeah,
Tatanka, like I said, he's a WWE legend. I mean, whether he's in the Hall of Fame or not, the dude's a legend. He's in video
and
games.
He didn't even act like it. He acted like he was just one of us. He had a separate dressing room, but like we did that out of respect. But I mean, he was out hanging with us half the time and just being down to earth.
He stayed the whole show and everything. Like he wasn't even like one of those. Like, sometimes you got the celebrities. Honestly, the one ups will come in. They'll have their match. They want to be first, and then they get out and they bye. See ya. They don't even wait for intermission. It's like, okay, cool, but I mean, I don't know. I love seeing stuff like that, like what you're talking about, where a wrestler will come in, and especially being somebody with the name, and they put all that aside and just make the fans happy, and also, honestly, make the locker room happy, because a lot of wrestlers are fans, and when they get these great, WWE guys to work with, it's a learning experience. They get to learn from these guys if they're talkative and they teach and they talk in the back, and you can pick up and soak up information. I'm sure Alexander Lee, working with him, learned a tons of things. That's just great though. But you had a bunch of matches. I mean, I was going through the card again. I don't know if I can do it at the same time here.
We had 10 matches altogether. That's a huge card because the average wrestling show is about 6 to 7. I'm sorry?
How long was the show?
I don't even remember. It was such a blur because, just everything. Yeah, we had 10 matches. I mean, a lot of them were shorter, obviously to save time.
Yeah. No, that's an impressive card though. I mean, some shows have 5, some have, whatever.
I believe we were home after teardown and everything. We were home by like 10:30, and we only lived 20 minutes from the venue. So I'd say like we were done by like 9:30, 10 o'clock, give or take.
About 2.5 hour running show.
Yeah, I think so. And that was even with, we had, a couple little hiccups along the way, which took some time away from the show, but we were able to just get through them, bust them out, and continue on. So, like, I know one time my mic lost complete power. So we couldn't have music. We couldn't hear me. Well, you could hear me, but, but
that's okay. I mean, I'll never forget one time we wanted to, we were running a federation, a it started off as like kind of this, I had a bunch of wrestling friends, and it kind of started off as this backyard promotion. We wanted to do something kind of different, and we did a show in a cemetery. It was a kind of cool little idea. We had like 3 or 4 matches. It was very backyardish, but it had this kind of grim kind of look to it. Somebody caught wind of it, and they liked it, and they said, why don't you come work with us and work in our arena? So we went into their arena and we did a show there, and they had a UFC cage. I did the mic, and the person I was working with at the time, he got injured the night before, so he couldn't go. So they had me doing commentary and everything, and he gave me a CD. And the CD had all the music on it. I said, okay, this should be great. I get in there, my mic don't work at all. I have a fan handing me a megaphone. I was totally embarrassed. I couldn't do anything. Like, I was just, it didn't work at all. And then every song the first song was the national anthem, because we were supposed to play, and that started skipping because, of course, it's a CD. And then every song after that was also the national anthem. So everybody ended up coming out that night to the national anthem, basically.
Oh my gosh.
Talk about hiccups. Yeah, I almost threw up. It was a terrible night in wrestling, but I do feel bad when things like that happen, because like you have an instance just to kind of think, what am I going to do just to damage control this?
Right. Yeah, no, we just, I think, what was it? I think at that time we had some giveaways to do. So like Neil went out and we gave away the big movie posters that you see at the theaters. Black Bear Cinemas in Orono donated the Iron Claw movie poster, which was super cool. That thing was massive. And, he went and he but he gave that out. We had a huge signed poster of the event flyer that we all signed and stuff. And it was pretty cool, but that was a good time, good time killer. Like, he went out and just did all that and had, did everything to kill time while we fixed things. And it was a quick, easy fix though. So
yeah,
glad for that.
I said mine was kind of irreversible. Like the whole night was just going, I don't know what we're going to do here. And then the place had no internet either. So I couldn't even use what I had saved as MP3. So I was just like, I might as well just go sing the music without my mic, and just, it was terrible. But, that was years and years ago. I've learned since then, not to do things. But, the show always does go on though, right? You just make it kind of.
It does. And I mean, we actually had Randy Carver of Limitless and Let's Wrestle. He was our sound guy for the night. He was is on it. Love Carver. He was able to save the day in a matter of a few minutes. So
yeah, and I think that's what's awesome about Maine is everybody kind of looks out a little bit for each other, Randy Carver Jr. is one of the the nicest dudes I know in the wrestling industry, and he really helped change the landscape of Maine wrestling. He's really upped the game up a notch. Not that Larry Huntley don't run a great organization. He does too. Now is wonderful, and it's just it's a steady, sturdy company. But Randy is just taking it to that level where it's gone national, and it's gone. People like MJF and Daniel Garcia, Anthony Green, Christian Casanova,
right?
People that are really beyond to the next level and are on TV now and are making a living pro wrestling. And to see him still go around and still help out others and to still support other promotions, again, it's something that I just love to see, because there's enough fans for every promoter and promotion to make money. The fans love wrestling. They don't need to pick one or the other. Everybody can work together. You'll
absolutely.
You'll make more money that way. Don't make fans feel they need to choose between promotions, because that only splits the wrestlers up, because we don't have dedicated wrestlers in a promotion. Nobody does. They're independent. So you're only making people choose between wrestlers. It's pointless. Everybody can work together. Nobody needs to undermine each other, I love seeing when people help each other out, because it's what it's about. The industry as a whole should work that way, because it's about, them helping, put on the show so the fans are entertained, so they want to go back to pro wrestling, regardless of who's running the show.
Exactly. And I mean, like you said before, it's all you said it best. We're all just one big family. sometimes a dysfunctional one, but we're still a family. You know, we all help each other out. We all like hype each other up. You know, like we have shows, you know, coming up in the near future, and we're just, you know, we're all supporting each other. So that's how it should be. We take care of each other.
You do, and I think that's that's the cool part about wrestling. I don't think that some people they don't realize how much of a family that it actually becomes, especially when shows are being run consecutively, and people start going through hardships together. When incidents happen, and instead maybe this time it was just two people working, but next time maybe 3 or 4 people will get involved to help the issue. And then before you know it, everybody's working on every issue and everybody's just making sure that the show's running good because it reflects on them, and it reflects on wrestling. Again, I can't stress enough how much a bad show can leave a taste in a fan's mouth that they won't want to go to wrestling. And I hate to see it. Well, even bad, when wrestling gets bad press, unfortunately there's misconduct that takes place, abuse allegations, so forth. And it leaves bad taste in fans' mouth. And wrestling isn't about that, It's a very fun, family-orientated industry. It always has been. At least when I grew up, it was. It has its mature elements, and there's different styles of wrestling, and there's something for everybody. You have hardcore, you have death matches, you have your comedy core, you have your standardized wrestling, you have your more televised kind. There's all different styles, but it's still it's geared towards everybody, family, united. So, but like I said, you guys had such a great mix of all those kind of types of wrestlers. Bringing in people from everywhere. You even had one of my favorite wrestlers, Perry Von Vicious, on there.
I loved working with Perry. It was really great. The Perry go round, holy crap. I felt bad for Blade Bandit. I swear he was seeing stars for the rest of the evening. I hope he didn't have to drive home. But
I mean, he really is a human monster.
He is. But like when he showed up, I'm like, oh, hey, blah, blah, and I just had to do a double take because it's like, whoa, hold on a second. You're Perry Von Vicious, He's one of the sweetest guys ever. Like, just, I'm not going to give away too much because of kayfabe, but, he's great and super talented. The guy just came back from Japan. Like, crazy.
I mean, honestly, I got a wind of him back in like 2017. He was a little bit different at the time. He was rocking this money suit. He was much thinner. He wasn't as bulky. He was bad. He was a bad guy. He was there to make the crowd mad. But I really liked the charisma that came with him, and he played that money suit and that rich kind of greedy guy very well. And, I followed that for a little bit, and then I saw him tagging up. He was tagging up with this Native American guy for a little bit, Tomahawk in NCW. And then Tomahawk left and Rip Bison came in, and then, they started to form Mad. And when Mad came out, I was super ramped because Perry started to change a little bit. He was starting to bulk more up. Him and Rip were lifting weights. They were doing the whole, monster truck kind of like, it was a change. And I really started to follow. They went to Texas. They went around the country. They were doing their thing. And then all of a sudden, again, they grew even more. I started seeing them on Wrestling Open and getting, IWTV coverage. And then Rip opened a promotion, and then they did all that out there. And then all of a sudden, they're in Japan. And I was like, kudos, congratulations, you guys have made it. He's always wanted to go to Japan, and both of them, and they made it out there. I know Rip is out there again now. He's on his second tour. Perry's back now. I don't know if he's going out anytime soon. I'm supposed to actually have him on my show coming soon as well. I'm gonna have to ask him about it. But he is one of the nicest guys. He does a lot outside of wrestling that I follow as well. He runs different, kind of like podcast kind of type shows. He does Disney stuff. He does video games. My wife's a big Disney buff, so like I'll go to him for Disney stuff because like my wife, and like I said, some stuff I don't know, so he knows it, and I'll go to him for that. And I'm a video gamer, so I can enjoy that So he's one of those cool dudes, but in the ring, he's all business, and that's what I love about him. He's a big man in wrestling, and that's something that's not really there anymore.
No, he I know I'm kind of going all over the map on the card here, but the heavyweight championship match between him and Blade Bandit was impressive. It really was. I couldn't have thought of a better matchup than the two of them. You got Blade Bandit, one of the best heels in the business, in my opinion. I love me some Blade Bandit. And Jesse Nolan, just the two of them together. Their energy, it's just like you love them, but you also love to hate them.
He was just in Japan too, right?
No.
No, he did not.
No, Perry Von Vicious was in Japan recently.
Yes, okay. So no, yeah. but and that's the thing. Jesse Nolan's another one that's a great wrestler. But those two together are just tremendous. And who ended up winning the main event there? That heavyweight. I don't know if it was the main event, but the heavyweight title match.
The heavyweight title went to Perry Von Vicious.
Woo! Congratulations.
Yeah. And I don't know if you have seen, I can send you pictures if you haven't, but the size of the heavyweight championship belt, it's massive. It's literally monster truck size. This thing is huge. It weighs probably about between 10 and 15 pounds, blinged right out, like massive. I had to use two hands to hold it up properly. And then I had to have Jason Maverick hold it up for me because I'm like, my arms are getting tired. This thing's too heavy. Because I had to hold it while the match was going on. I didn't want to set it down because it was the belt and I didn't even run off with it. But
I'm gonna have to see. But I haven't seen pictures of it yet. Like I said, the internet's weird for me. I mostly am on Facebook. I don't really enjoy X because I feel like it's too wide. And Instagram. Yeah. I don't have the same abilities as I do on Facebook to post and stuff. So I stick to Facebook. But, a lot of my posts I've been noticing are 4 or 5 days old or things from a week ago. Or I'm not getting current news until a while later. I have to go search for it. It's weird. I've tried refreshing stuff. I just don't know. The algorithm's weird, but I would appreciate any photos because like I said.
Absolutely. Our photographer actually just sent us an album from it, from all the photos that he took, because we had a young man come in and do professional photos, and he got some good ones of Perry with the belt. And I would, those will be surfacing very soon on our Facebook and probably our TikTok as well, and maybe our Instagram.
I'm guessing you were part of production. Was there a hard cam or something filming the actual show? You had film crew?
Yes, we did. We did have I believe we had a hard cam set up above where the curtain was, kind of shooting downward onto the mat. So that was cool. We also had Tyler from the dojo with the hand cam going around.
They had somebody videotape it, so there could be some video coming out. At least somebody's got matches.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Actually, JP O'Reilly just made a highlight reel, and that just got put on the MPW Facebook today or last night. Alexander Lee also did a highlight video of his match with Tatanka versus Jimmy Limits and Jason Maverick. So a lot of good stuff's coming out. So I'll be sure to send it your way.
Definitely. I'll check out. I'm a big media guy. I love that kind of stuff. When I go to a show, I spend a lot of time just filming because I like to get the clips out there. I throw them on YouTube. I get the shorts. I get the reels on Facebook. Because a lot of times people, they don't have attention spans to watch a whole match, but if they can see 5 or 10 clips and then they want to watch the whole match and then they'll go find it and they'll go hunt for it. Or I've had people hit me up, hey, how can I watch them? Oh, join IWTV, you can go and watch it, or, go here and buy it or whatever, which way, or here's their local shows. That's the cool thing now about social media from right. You can get people hooked with just, 3 or 4 seconds of video. Something looks cool and now people are into it. They're gonna watch it multiple times. That's the age we live in. Really quick times for videoing.
Oh yeah. But there's definitely a lot of clips out there from the hardcore match that was the main event of the evening. Yeah, I'll never look at Legos or
What was the
doors the same
hardcore?
way.
Who fought in the hardcore match?
So the hardcore championship match was a Penobscot Nation street fight between Johnny Primer and JP O'Reilly.
Oh wow!
So yeah, that was definitely a sight to see. You know, watching your husband go through a table covered with Legos was quite the thing, but
I'm sorry, I'm just in awe right now because like my son's got all these Legos out on the wooden table out there, and I can just imagine going through it and the pain and agony. That's terrible.
I
Legos
can't even imagine, like, stepping on a Lego is bad enough, but getting a senton from JP O'Reilly on a table covered with Legos.
Yeah, I think glass is I think glass is better than Legos. Honestly, glass is, at least it's in and out and quick, and it's not as Legos are just evil things. But that sounds like a wild match. Well, that was the main event at the end of the night, probably because of all the weapons there and Legos. You never know which way a hardcore match can go. I've seen arenas get destroyed. Not destroyed literally, but there's stuff everywhere because anything goes, right? And it's the last match of the night. They're going everywhere with it. They're taking it to the top. And I did see some pictures surfacing of that. That just looked like a wild time.
Well, even our head referee, Kenny Baskins, got put through a table by Marion Lawless. He made the mistake of turning his back to Lawless, and I just saw Lawless's hand go up, and Kenny flew like the cow went over the moon. Like I just saw him fly and go through a table. It was a sight to see because I'm like, I was made aware that, hey, Kenny might be doing a spot or whatever, and I'm like, okay, cool, preparing for it, and then I just saw him fly, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, can we check on this guy? Because
who checks on the ref? The ref's usually the guy to go, check on the wrestler. Who's checking on him? He sent me the video clip of that, and he did go. He got some height on that. That was scary.
I mean, look at Lawless. Lawless isn't a shorty. He's a tall man. So Kenny got air for sure, and I'm just glad that he's okay. Luckily, after he went through the table, our new referee, Mo Tardy, came to save the day and gave Johnny Primer the 3 count, and Johnny Primer ended up winning the first ever MPW Hardcore Championship title.
So there was two new. So if I'm correct, there was 2 new champions crowned that night: a world champion and a hardcore champion. So
there was actually 3 championships that were crowned. We had the hardcore championship, which was won by Johnny Primer, the heavyweight championship, which was won by Perry Von Vicious, and then we had a really awesome tag team match between Ray C and Jacques-Louis Francis Hyper Poutine versus the Nautical Nightmare Dylan Nix and Tyler Big Cat Adams, known as the Wild. And the Wild actually they were victorious. I didn't know who was going to win. I'm not going to lie. It was a really great match. And I was just like, man, they turned up for sure. Like, they showed up, they turned up. So, big congratulations to those 2.
I'm a big fan of Dylan Nix. He's an inspiration to a lot because he's one of those wrestlers that got kind of a later start in his career, and he's just killing it out there. Not being someone who started when they were 18 or running around. And he does it. He wins titles, and he's very dominant. And I've watched him kind of grow even better and better, through different promotions, Limitless, NCW, and a few others. And I'm great to see him get out there. I one time saw him in Jersey. I was probably most, there was a lot of great people on that card that night when I went out to Jersey, but I probably marked over seeing Dylan Nix the most because it was like somebody that you wouldn't see. He's all the way from Maine. He's out here. It's like, this is awesome.
The man loves what he does.
Guys, I really do, because I like seeing them get out there. Especially like I said, when they're at that age. I understand it's not easy. It's not, like I said, even for me, it's not easy for me to get to a show as a fan because I got obligation. Never mind if I had to work shows. And to see
Right.
these guys still be able to put in the effort and do it, it's tremendous work, tremendous work. So
And the
three
thing is,
titles around, that's
yeah.
impressive. That's impressive.
Absolutely. And I mean, and a lot of the folks that we had on the show, like we had Donkey Boy Bandit, we have Blade Bandit, we had a lot of bandits. We had, Dylan Nix and Big Cat. A lot of them were at Supernova the night before. So those guys put out a show then, drove a long way back here, woke up, geared up, and went back and did another show and just knocked it out of the park. I was just, everyone was leaving. I'm like, please go home, get some sleep, like rest.
I mean, then you had some other travelers, like, didn't you get like the Dirt City Murder Crew coming out there? They took a hike up there.
We actually, so they are going to be on our next show, MPW Retribution. So the first official match announcement that I can talk about right now for that show is Dirt City Murder Crew. All right. Jason Devine and Mike Montero versus POS, Alexander Lee, Mike McCarthy for the Let's Wrestle Tag Team Championships.
Oh, wow. So a little cross promotion right there. That's awesome. Okay. I'm talking about something big. And hopefully, Mike McCarthy will be there, because I don't think Tatanka can help this time.
No, but I mean, Mike McCarthy is, him and Alexander Lee together. They draw. Dirt City Murder Crew, they draw. It's gonna be.
Oh, I'm
really excited.
You're a City Murder Crew fan. I'm a huge Mike Montero fan. I believe he's one of those people that is just. He's undeniable across, this region. I've watched him, another one that I've kind of watched grow into, different promotions and collect belts. And, Jason Devine, another one, just solid wrestler. And those two together just been killing it across New England. Sometimes they even bring in the third member, Jamie Tucker, will jump in. And he's another one that's just grown and exploded. And they have this little clique, and it draws insanely huge among the fans. But like you said, Alexander Lee is a local legend in the area. I mean, he's a draw no matter what, and Mike McCarthy is too. They love him wherever he goes.
The two of them together is such an amazing team. Like, they're just a couple of hardcore punks, and I absolutely love it. So
I've never seen people get more excited of somebody picking their nose than when Mike McCarthy wrestles. I mean, it doesn't happen, but he gets the crowd excited for that.
Yeah, it's funny. One of my coworkers' sons is like the biggest Johnny Primer fan ever. Okay. But then he goes, I like Johnny Primer and the Booga Picka, like referring to Mike McCarthy. So I'm like, cool. He's obviously making he's making an impact on, the littles. It's great. So, but really excited to have them on the show. Both tag teams is going to be one hell of a fight. So, hopefully we can draw in a lot of folks to come in and see that. We also have the Masterpiece Chris Masters coming in April. That's going to be
well.
Yeah,
and
that's
pretty
exciting.
The elephant in the room. I've seen the post. You got Justin Incredible announced.
Yep, he's actually announced for our show in May that we're having back at Indian Island on May 11th.
So, I mean, you got two shows back to back with names already announced. And that's...
Oh, yeah. And so, and also last night, I believe it was last night, we posted the promo for the Master Beast, Wesley Pipes. I don't know if you've ever seen this guy, but yeah, his name definitely well describes him. So that's going to be exciting.
So, I mean, this is really turned into something, like I said, it's going to be something ongoing, something running, something active. A lot of promotions, they run shows, but they're not active. They'll have a couple months in between. You might see some online stuff, but it's not continuous. This is continuously active, ongoing. Things are happening every day. There's a lot happening every day. It's a fascinating. Right.
Yeah,
that's exciting. That's exciting, and I'm really happy, honestly, to hear the cross promotion again, because it just goes to show that it is one big family, but the fans are the fans, and they want to see things why not give it, why not showcase something else that happens in Maine at another show? It's only gonna get fans from, MPW to want to go to Limitless, or Limitless fans to want to do the reverse. I know I'm gonna want to go to it. Even if I didn't know anything about MPW, I would want to go just to see those two fight for the Let's Wrestle title, because it's not as far as it's going to be to go all the way up in like Bangor, wherever they run. It's closer. I would take the trek, but obviously I know about MPW and I know more of it, so I was already an instant that I wanted to go anyway, besides even knowing the matches. But like I said, things like that will get people to draw. It does even for me as a casual, as a fan, or just even the casual people that like good, matches. And that's what these guys and girls do. They put on good matches. It's TV quality wrestling at a very good price, I say.
Oh, yeah. The price you can't be beat. For new beginnings, if you had $10 and nothing to do on our Saturday night, we had a seat for you. It was, prices were so good.
Not for nothing, but $10 right now, you can't even get a large meal at McDonald's. It's over $10.
Nope.
The prices of things are crazy, but you're not gouging. $10 it's awesome. And that's what I think, people, need to kind of capitalize, because you're seeing guys that should be or could be or would be or will be on TV. And that's the reality of these shows. A lot of these guys and girls are fast moving, and they're going to be in the next year somewhere else on TV behind a paywall. And, you're going to think back to that time, well, wow, it was so awesome. I got to see them sitting, front row at MPW. What a match. And now they're on TV over here, and you're looking at your phone, you're looking at the picture of you two together. It's like, wow, that's a moment. And we get to see that in New England. That's the greatest thing. A lot of these kids go fast. They move on to the next level.
That they do. And we have this show coming up in April. We have a lot of great talent on the show. I can't per se say any more than I have already, but one of the bigger things that's really exciting about this show is that, so when you interviewed my husband, Johnny Primer, last time, the last show for MPW was in his hometown, his turf. He was, raised on the res. But the show coming up in April, my hometown, I am so stoked to be able to announce in front of my town, to show them what I've become, and, show them what I'm working for, and share this amazing, show with them, because they deserve it, So
you should challenge them for the hardcore title.
Challenge them for the hardcore title.
To challenge him for it. You know what, honey? You know what? I think I'm going to go home with the belt tonight and just, let the match begin at the end and just go all out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that will go over well. I'm not fit. I can't even handle stepping on Legos. What makes you think I'm hardcore?
Ban the Legos first. You got to ban the Legos first, and then you got to pay
Kendo
the ref
sticks
a little
only.
bit.
No.
Pay the ref a little bit. Ban the Legos. You'll be fine. But that's awesome, though, and you get into work kind of locally, and there is some magic there, working in front of people in a local thing, because you get that kind of draw, and people are like, oh, wow, this person really did something that they wanted to do, or, they're doing really cool, or that looks really awesome, and it's nice to be able to do that. And John got to work in front of his family. He got to capture a belt in his hometown. That's something special.
Right. And this is something I've been wanting to do, like, low key, like after New Beginnings, I had fans coming up and like being like, oh my gosh, you sounded so good, you kicked ass, and stuff. And I suck at taking compliments, but I'm working on that. But like, I had one woman come up to me and just go on and on about how much she loved listening to me, and I'm like, this has been a low key dream of mine since I was a little girl. Okay, I know it sounds weird, but like, I remember sitting in front of TV during the Attitude Era, listening to Finkel making his way down to the ring, like that right there. I'm like, I want to do that. That's what I want to do.
That was if you knew Howard Finkel. If you didn't know Howard Finkel, I was gonna be like, oh, you got a problem here. But you already brought him up. So you're good. You're good in my book.
He's definitely my top inspo for sure. Him, Samantha Irvin. I absolutely like I have a hell of a lot of respect for Ethan Scott of Limitless, because he wanted to do the damn thing and he went ahead and did it. And then you got Cindy Hart. I don't know if you ever heard her, but I love me some Cindy Hart.
She's another one.
I watched her announce at a Vacationland show, and I was just starstruck. I'm just like, I can do this. If she can do it, I can do this. Women are actually good in the industry. So,
and one of my favorite in the area, is Rich Palladino. That dude is just amazing.
Oh, he's good too.
Every time, man. Every time that dude just he gets it. He gets it. But I was also a fan of Michael Buffer too. There was nothing more than let's get ready to rumble right before a main event, that would get me roaring. But it's another part of wrestling. I was talking to somebody, some of the referees. I talked to Kenny, and a few other referees. I talked to another referee, and they are a part of the wrestling show that's not really talked about, but part of the show. And the same thing goes for the announcers, and the same thing goes for any of the ring announcer and the commentary team. Exactly, it's all part of a big show that. Without one of those pieces, it's like, oh, something's off. What is it?
Yeah, we're just a well-oiled machine, So.
If we never had the thing, WWF would have been something would have been off. You wouldn't have had this great intros and entrances. Yet you need that, and it's all very important. And how you deliver an entrance makes the difference. It can.
It's true. I also
good, or it can be like,
entrances definitely are important. Getting the crowd pumped up is super important. I don't know if you're at all familiar with what's the name of the show? Big Little Brawlers. Like it's about the micro wrestling circuit. There's this one announcer, Ivar the Micro. Absolutely love him. I'm like, I sprinkle a little bit of him into my facade. I like to pull from a lot of these people and deliver. I want to make sure people are getting their $10, $20, $40 worth, you know what I mean? And then some. Oh, a sponsor pays $100. Guess what? I got to give them $100 worth. You know what I mean? Like, I make sure that when I'm out there, like, people are getting what they want. And if not, I'm going to fix it.
I've sponsored plenty of shows. I sponsored Limitless. I've sponsored other shows because I believe that sponsorship is the best way to kind of promote. I don't believe in paying for advertisement. I'd rather give a promotion money, let them advertise me to the right demo, and they get to, use the money the right way rather than me just give it to Google and randomly hit people that probably don't give a shit anyways. So I always believe in, promoting and doing it that way. And then to hear people say, they work, for the sponsors and they'll, want to see, give them their money. But that, I appreciate that. That's something that's, makes me enjoy doing what I do when I do that too. I did a lot during 2020 when, the world shut down, everything was ended here for wrestling. There was nothing. A lot of people were suffering. I tried to do my best. I bought a lot of merch on Pro Wrestling Tees rather, and I was trying to support the best way I can. And then wrestling kind of came back taped and televised. So I did whatever I could do to kind of sponsor shows and help sponsor matches and, just do what I could do because I knew, it was helping the industry. And I still do it to this day because like I said, whether they share my name, say it, I get a post, whatever I get out there, it's still better advertisement than random advertisement.
Right.
But yeah, I'm excited again, like I said, to kind of see where this goes. And, you got the championships, the titles, you already got history being made and it's been made. And at least we know, some of these guys are going to be returning. We might see Perry Von Vicious next, so defending a title. We don't know against who, but, he is part of this promotion. He is a champion. There's other people.
He's our first champion.
We might see Johnny Primer defending his title. I don't know how you guys are going to defend titles. I don't know if it's going to be every show. Some shows do it differently. Some shows don't want it done they do it every other. Some do it when the champions feel like doing it. It all depends. But we know that these people are part of this, and they're going to be part of this show continuously, and we can expect to see them at some point. So that, already the people that you got as champions is a solid foundation for a promotion.
No, you ain't
Um,
kidding. I'm impressed by who we
now,
have so
let
far
me ask you,
representing
you
us.
had Nakoma there. Do you have more kind of interest in bringing more female talent to the promotion?
Yes, but you'll have to stay tuned on our social medias for more talent announcements and match announcements as far as that goes. I may have had my hand in, being married to the booker, I guess, has its perks. I suggested some really strong female talent to come in. Whether we'll see them or not, we'll see. You'll have to stay tuned. But I assure you, you won't be disappointed.
I like this, a good mix, female matches, men matches and tag matches, and if they can do it, I am a fan of, and if it's done right, I still will say some of the best running wrestling is like a good intergender match if done properly. There's some really great workers out there like Ava Everett and such that can work just unbelievable intergender matches that will blow your socks off, and it's like, oh my god, why aren't these people
I
signing
actually,
why aren't they doing this?
Yeah, I actually had the pleasure of stepping in and announcing for another promotion, and they had an intergender tag team match. And it was just, I didn't know I needed it until I saw it happen. It was Sammy Chaos and JP O'Reilly versus Jesse Nolan and Blade Bandit. That was something to see. It was a good night for sure.
I mean, I'll tell you who got me hooked on it. It's kind of funny because he's kind of been making his rounds around Maine, but was I saw TJ Crawford taking on Chris Statlander at a Beyond show, and I was just hooked from there on in. These two worked each other, and it was just a fantastic match. It was Please Come Back, and the chemistry was just there. I was like, wow, this. You don't see this on TV because they never show intergender. Even when they have the tag matches, they'll tag out when the guy or the girl comes in. The guy never faces the girl directly, but on the the indie scene, they do. And I was just mesmerized and blown away. I was like, let me see more of this. And like I said, if done right, it's really fantastic.
It truly is.
Because they're both wrestlers, they're both athletes. They don't really need to be, kind of segregated that way because, like I said, they wrestle together. They're wrestlers. But it's cool to see, and like I said, I've seen a lot of others, kind of go from that and just take it, and some, like I said, not every match should be that way, but a good blend of that, and like I said, the singles, men's, and the women's singles, and then you bring in the tag matches too. I'm a big tag guy. I like, and I like tags that like a unified tag. You got POS, a real tag team. Dirt City Crew, real tag team. Like, they come out matching gear, matching song, kind of similar gimmicks. They work well together. It's not just, names thrown together, kind of like that. I like, old school tag teams. So that's what I grew up with, like Bushwhackers and, people that came out together.
Right. Exactly. Those were the days for sure. You bring up intergender though matches and strong female, talents. I totally forgot to mention we had Mr. Canada, Ricky Williams was in the house, and he wanted to challenge any native in the room to, take him on. And then all of a sudden you hear the drum beat starting, and out comes Nakoma. Holy crap. Took my breath away. Like, it was just amazing.
I bet it erupted.
Yo, she put on quite a good show, and she ended up being victorious over Mr. Canada. Mr. Canada was rocking a Nakoma-sized handprint across his chest for he probably still has it, to be honest with you right now.
I bet those chops hurt. They look like they hurt.
I thought Larry Huntley had some killer chops, but man, Nakoma's right up there. If not, like, they're, neck and neck there for sure. But she was a phenomenal talent. It was a great, like, I can look at New Beginnings and reflect, and there was not a single match I didn't like. Like, there was, we had the debut of Stormy Savage from the dojo. Oh my gosh, like, that guy showed up, turned out yeeted Luis Leon out of the ring like something fierce. He came to play. Like
No,
it
I love
was,
the dojo. I think the dojo really puts out quality students. Let's Wrestle Limitless, great promotions.
yep.
Again, can't think that enough. But
Mhm.
dojo itself, it's a really good school out in that area.
Absolutely.
I recommend even people from my area to go there. It's like I can't drive 5 hours. I'm like, yeah, you can do it if you really want to. If you want to be a good
Right.
wrestler, you'll drive 5 hours. I know there's schools in Mass and there's great schools in Mass. I mean, we got New England Pro. We see Sasha Banks now in AEW. She came from there,
Right.
but I don't know. There's something about the dojo. I just think it's magical out there.
It is like it's some
I've
of the
been
best
talking to
times
Randy.
to
I
come out
want
of
to do
it.
like a special, like behind the scenes, go out there, like film students, talk to them, like what's it like working here, training. Because you see these kids and they get to move around. They move around Maine, and and they go back to the training, and then they make it. They make it onto the next show, and then the next show, and then they keep going. And if they're good, they get all the way to the top.
You got something there, man. Like that could totally be a thing. We could totally make that happen for sure. But yeah, it's incredible.
I believe training is important. People get put off by training. They think they need to either A, be in super shape to already start training, or it's B, it's something that they learned long ago they don't need to do, or C, that it's kind of like it's something that they think they know it. It's something that you kind of just go to continuously learn. Wrestling's not something you learn overnight. You don't learn how to wrestle. You still haven't learned. You know how to wrestle, but you never learned it. It's something that
it's more than learning. It's more than learning how to suplex and take bumps. You need to learn. I know that Alexander Lee covers things like cutting promos, respect, how to sell with style. Like there's a lot more to it. A lot of people just think, okay, cool, workout, throw people around, the end. No.
There's also, if Alexander Lee didn't continuously go to school, then he would cut promos like he did when he first entered. And times have changed since then. It wouldn't work today socially. And that's the thing. You have to evolve with the times. If you go back to even WWE 20, 30 years ago, those promos wouldn't cut it in today's society. People get offended. You can't say these words. You can't say that about this person. Oh, no, that's offensive. You have to roll with that and kind of say, okay, you have to gauge your crowd and say, hey, I got to pull this back. I got to pull this forward. You have to go to school to kind of learn that. You to see what's out in the industry and to learn new techniques. Like, I do a lot of computer work. Do I know? I haven't, every day I'm learning something new about it. I'm learning something new about programming or this or that or whatever I'm using, Photoshop, Illustrator, there's new techniques. There's new things that come out. I can't use the same techniques I did 20 years ago. I mean, I would be so slow at it. And that's the same thing with wrestling. You got to continuously do that. So I always like to,
even being a ring announcer, I'm learning new stuff every single day. Heck, I messed up during one of the matches. It was a non-championship match, but Neil, it was right after the power went out and stuff. He handed me my mic. He goes, okay, you're good. Get the show on the road. And I just ran to the ring, jumped in, started announcing. And then I looked over to Mo Tardy, who was the referee for the match. And I go, I'm not supposed to be here. And he goes, nope. And I'm like, okay, I'm out. And under the rope I went and back to my little spot where I was stand and announce from. But I mean, like I said, we all learn, it's a big learning experience. And everyone is there to help.
Even myself, I went to, I did a fantasy camp at New England Pro Wrestling Academy, done some seminars here and there. I would do even more training. For me to go on full training, I don't see it being, because I don't want to wrestle. I have like back injuries stuff. I used to box and I used to do other things, but I wouldn't mind learning how to take basic bumps just for, for purposes. Like if you're ever at a show and they need someone to kind of get engagement, whatever that might be. But I would go just to learn to be a better podcaster. You know what I'm saying? Like just to learn things. And that would be, and the other thing is I do like to do is commentary. I love to commentate stuff. I think it's fun. If I can hold the matches without commentary, I love to just kind of dub it. I've also done like video game commentary where I'll just make like matches happen and just commentate it. I like to be colorful and it kind of goes with the podcasting. But You know, those are my kind of passions in the wrestling industry and that, and, you know, doing the interviews. But I would go to school just to kind of get a better feel for that. But I do urge wrestlers to go there. So, like, uncovering these places and showing that they're not these scary kind of, you know, places where, you know, you're going to be accepted. You're not going to be made fun. You're not going to be booted out. You might be terrible when you enter, but guess what? Everybody was terrible when they enter. You know, nobody's a natural born wrestler. You might be an athlete, yes, but you're not going to know the wrestling industry from birth because there's a lot of stuff that you're not taught about in regular athleticism. You're not going to know naturally how to work a crowd. You're not going to naturally know how to bump the right way. What you see on TV is definitely not the case. I've had a friend come in, you know, I went to the training camp, so, you know, they showed us how to properly run ropes. It's something that's very, you know, deceiving when you see on TV. Those ropes aren't very friendly. They're like just steel cords. But when you're running them, they're very flimsy too. You have to hold on. And you go on your side. You never go flat back. And, you know, my friend jumps into the ring because we were at a show and doing taping, helping tape. And he runs up against the ropes full on and thinks that, you know, he's just going to springboard off these ropes, off his lower back. It whiplashes his back and he hits his sciatic nerve and he just drops to the ground. He's out of commission. He can't move. It's not a joke. I mean, this dude's like out cold and his sciatic nerve's out because it whiplashed his back. I'm like, why'd you do this? Like, I was just running off the rope. I was like, do you know how to run off the rope? He's like, oh, I've seen it. I'm like, doesn't matter how many times you've seen. That's what you see. That's like going to a magic show. I know how to do a trick. No, there's a right way to do it. I'm like, you know, you have to. And the other kid showed me, like, you pull your arm, hold this arm, like, go on your side. You're not supposed to go flat back. That's going to break your back. That's unforgiving to you. There's a lot of stuff in wrestling that you're not going to naturally learn that you know, you're going to, the TV and watching it isn't just going to suffice. So if you, I mean, I always, like I said, recommend if you want a good start in wrestling, go to a school. There's plenty of them. You know, some are more affordable than others. I know some are quite costly. It all depends on what you want out of it. You know, I know some people don't want a full-time career out of it, so they don't want to drop thousands of dollars off the bat. And I understand that. If you're not looking for the return, then, you know, you're not looking for the return. There's other people that, okay, cool, and I'm going to sell $5,000 worth of merch a week to make up for it. And, you know, they'll go on the road and they'll sell T-shirts like there's no tomorrow. So it all depends what you want for it. But that school's important, you know.
Super important.
And a good teacher and a good, you know, good people, you know, granted you learn as you go, but you have to have some foundation.
That's correct.
You know, it's just something that I think that's kind of important. You know, you do get people that kind of, you know, friend of a friend that's kind of learned along the way. And they might get so far, but then all of a sudden somebody gets hurt. And it's like, what happened here? Well, so-and-so didn't really know what they were doing. They kind of just, you know, did whatever. And it's like, you know, this gives that bad look to the wrestling industry as a whole because not everything is run that way. There's so many people that have paid their dues in schools to learn the right way that shouldn't be dragged down because of, you know, some incident online that went viral because somebody didn't know what they were doing. Right. You know, I've seen terrible things online where people have acted, you know, just ridiculous, kicked each other in the face, gone off, you know, shot at each other for no reason. And it's like, you know, that's not what wrestling should be remembered for. It should be, you know, these guys and girls that are out there, you know, giving these performances. You know, people like Nakoma, you know, defeating, you know, Mr. Canner on her native land, you know, in front of the crowd. Things like that is what, you know, should be drawing the fans in. And that's what pro wrestling should be known for. Right, absolutely. And Nakoma was our only female. Well, no, Jessie Nolan. She was one of the only two females that were on our card. So we had two pretty strong females on our card. Yeah, I love. So, like, you know, I've seen her, you know, in Maine. I've seen her in NCW as well. I've seen a lot of the Limitless, you know, the dojo people got to work down in NCW. I don't know if you're familiar with John Casey's promotion. It runs out of Dedham in Mass is their main place, and then they run out of Rhode Island as well, Bristol. He's a long time running, 20-some plus years. You know, a lot of these guys have come through there. Mike Montero, Dirt City Murder Crew. I've seen Jessie Nolan. You know, she was in a couple of the women's matches. She had a great match with a female named Dysana. I love the suplex and Sweetheart. Yes, she's amazing. She's amazing. She's another one that I'll travel with. I saw her all the way in Jersey as well. Those two had this. It was a housekeeping match or a clean house match. So they had like brooms and like things that you would find around a house, but it was a hardcore match. And they just beat each other. It was amazing, entertaining and amazing. They were good together.
I was gonna say the last time I worked with Isana was when my very first show that I ever ring announced, and she like welcomed me in and was just like, "Yeah, here's my information. Da da da. Like if you need anything." Like she was amazing. I love her. Like I said, the suplex and sweetheart suits her so well. Like yeah. So.
Yeah, that she's one of those people that kind of that are just one of those good people in the industry that kind of to follow along with, and kind of she does the right thing and hangs with the right people. If she's on a show, that show is a decent show because she wouldn't work it if it wasn't. She's one of those people that I kind of to see, where's she working? Which show is she not on? Why isn't she there?
I follow her, that's for sure.
She's one of those people. She's, I know she slowed down her, her schedule a little bit, but when I came into the scene in 2017, I was seeing her really kick some ass, and she's just, like I said, one of those just lovable people in the industry. But I'll never forget that match with her and Jesse Nolan. They just like tore down that house that night. But yeah, the Spitfire, she's great. I actually got one of the stickers she made. I had her sent to me. She's a really good wrestler, and like I said, I know you're gonna have more announcements on female talent. I just can't wait to see because there is a lot out in that area, and a lot of people that can come from that area, and you get people from Canada out there that can come down to Maine and wrestling. They have a lot of females out there too that are really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've reached out to quite a few.
She was amazing, Lufisto. She came down from Canada. But yeah, this is going to be a wild ride to watch. But I am excited to see where MPW is going to go. Like I told Johnny and I told Kenny, I love new promotions because it's new stories being told. Yes, they're the same wrestlers. Yes, we know who they are, but they're now in a new light. It's a new promotion, a new universe, right? A new meta universe, or whatever you want to call it, a new micro universe. So there's new stories to be told and new adventures to be had, and it's an all new thing. And that's exciting.
Very exciting. So I know our time's probably running up here, but like the biggest thing that I can say to anyone out there that's interested in coming and seeing us at MPW, buckle up, because we are booking some great talents. And the best part is that the way we're going about it is that we want to make sure that we're rotating. It's that way you're not seeing the same match month after month after month. Now, mind you, when we first started this promotion, it was supposed to be like an every other month thing, but the momentum built so much that all of a sudden it's like, hey, we're booked almost every month, and we're just rolling with it. It's our first year. We're excited. We have one hell of a crew, super strong crew, and we're ready to put some epic shows on for you guys.
Can't wait. And how can everybody at home find you guys? Where do they go on social to find and follow?
Okay, so you can find us on Facebook. Look up Maine Premier Wrestling. We have a TikTok, which I'm the one that runs that. Also, Maine Premier Wrestling. We have an Instagram. Giant Primer runs the X or Twitter account. Believe that's all we have for now. Hopefully in the near future, we'll get a YouTube started so we can get those, videos put up that we get with our still cam, our hand cam. And, a lot of the wrestlers' significant others are always out there. Like they are always busting their butts to get pictures for us, to get videos for us. So, we're all,
like I said, the next show, hopefully I'm there and I'll be able to, I usually get a lot of footage. So hopefully next time
I know.
I told my wife, I was like, look, I have to next time. We don't book anything during this next show, please. I can't do any more. I have to get out to MPW. Because like I said, after interviewing, first Johnny, and then I interviewed Kenny, and I was like, okay, I'm really pumped for this show. I'm hoping I can go. And then like, she was like, no, we have to go shop. I'm like, really? She's like, if you go to Maine, you're gonna have to spend the night. I'm like, I know, but I'm like, But now the weather's getting better. Hopefully, I mean, today was kind of cold, but hopefully it gets better. And it won't be as bad. And honestly, I miss those kind of late night adventures, coming home 2, 3 in the morning from a wrestling show. I mean, they're tiring, but it can be fun with the right crowd. When you bring the right friends with you along for the ride, it can be
Exactly.
but I do look forward to seeing it all and seeing how everything unfolds. Like I said, I follow along on all the social accounts, and I'll link them onto this interview, so people can just kind of follow along on there and find out everything. And hopefully we start to see, like you said, some videos and stuff come through. I do thank you though for coming on. It's been my pleasure. Really been a great time.
Thank you for having me. And just remember, April 19th, Skowhegan, Maine. Get your tickets. Come see
I'll
some
definitely
awesome.
go that day, because April 20th, there's so many parties that happen in Maine for 420.
I was gonna say, I know Versace Stoner is gonna be living it up. That's for sure.
Normally I stay in Mass, but like I can't not go to Maine now. I'm going to Maine for my friend works at a place out in Lewiston, and he turned me on to going there. And the price differential is just ridiculous from Mass to Maine. So every time I go out there, I just stock up. So I might have to do 420 out in Maine, which will be perfect if I'm already there for 19th the night before for the show.
Absolutely. Well,
Shop and go home. It'll be a great day. But thank you very much. Thank you everybody at home for watching. And as always, support indie wrestling and check out MPW. Versace Stoner out.